Welcome to the Daily Dish with Leanne Ely. This is a show about you, your life, and the vibrancy you want. Join us for daily motivation, wise women's tips, and more as we collectively gather together and move the needle in our lives, heart, mind, body, and soul. Now, here is your host, Leanne Ely, and the Daily Dish.
It is Tuesday. You know what that means? That means it's Transformational Tip Tuesday. And we're going to be going live again on Instagram shortly. I'm going to let you know about that because it's a thing. We're going to try to keep this thing going. Welcome to Catherine and Jocelyn and Jackie and Nancy. Cheers, Nancy. And Christina, also known as Chris. Good to have you here. Listen, I just knocked out a bunch of brand new content for TikTok. So I hope that you are a part of the TikTok scene. Go to savingdinner.com. This is how you go get the hot melt mix, this is what this is right here. Breaking my fast with this stuff. Good stuff, really. Anyway, I'm just letting you know about TikTok because it is a big deal. And you got all kinds of stuff that you're not going to see anywhere else. So make sure you get your buttski over to TikTok and give us some lovin' because we need it from you. Martha's in the house. I'm so glad you're here. Sarah's here. Hello, Sarah, Autumn, Margot. Yay. Aren't you glad tax season's over? I did an extension. I usually do an extension. So glad to see you, Alice, and everybody else. We're talking about pain today. Good stuff. Ooh, pain. Have you seen our sale? I'm going to hold this up because I keep forgetting to tell you about our sale. We are blowing out some stuff. We got some stuff in the warehouse. It's all good. It's all excellent. It's not a bunch of crap. It's great stuff. Things like quote decks, quote decks with the stands, the whole 9 yards. We have our lovely, you can see I use our full bloom, our mugs. We have a bunch of mindful mugs as well. savingdinner.com/sale. I mean, Mother's Day's coming, y'all. I don't know of a mother who wouldn't want something as lovely as this. Hi, Julie. I'm so glad you're here too. Jackie and Lucy. Glad to have you here. Angie's in the house as well, y'all. Did you see that? Just making sure that y'all know she's here. Great quote of the week. Got to check this one out. You ready for it? Here it is. I'm going to drop it on you. I don't believe you have to be better than everyone else. I believe you have to be better than you ever thought you could be. That's not to say you're not good where you are. It's to say that you are so much stronger, so much more creative, and so much more than you think you are. What if we did that for ourselves? What if we started looking at that? Hey, Doris, Linda, lovely to have you here. Jane, I'm glad you're here as well. Yay. There's my girl, Joanne, in the house. And you know what? This is a really good one because at first I read this and I went, I don't know. And then I thought, no, if you read it right, it is spurring you on to discover your own greatness because it's there. Deborah's here. So let's do that, right? Let's do that. Q&A is Friday. Don't forget to send in your questions. You do it by sending an email to support@savingdinner.com. Question for Leanne on Friday goes right there in the subject line. And then of course, in the body of the email, you're going to ask away with all those questions. Okay? Do that for me, would you? Hello, Alice. Hello, Jeanette. I'm glad you're here. That's just a thing that I want you to do. Carla's here. I also want you to see Crave Crusher as one of the supplements that you can't live without because I live and breathe by this. Yes, you take 4, but let me just tell you something. All day long, those cravings are gone. And isn't that everything? Tracy's here. Hello, Tracy. It just means everything. I don't know. savingdinner.com/show. Buy 3, get 1 free. And then I also want to tell you about our text messaging application. We have that as well. Have you been enjoying those? Those of you who have them, Anne's here. She wants everyone to know she's here because Hot Melt 30, right? If you're part of that, then you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, join our text message application. It's on your phone. Throw up a text message. I mean, I don't mean literally throw it up, but you know what I'm saying. Hey, Kathy. Text the word join to this phone number, 855-960-3720. And then we will send a message to you. Text back yes. Join and yes are both in caps. Okay, got that? Hey, Lisa. Glad you're here. So we have all of that. And of course, the dream team's here too, right? You know who they are. Say hi to Lindsay, say hi to Amber, and say hi to Jenny. They're all here in the house. All right. I think I've told you everything except Saturday. Who is going to be here on Saturday? Pinkies up if that's you. We are doing Full Bloom, y'all. Full Bloom. You want to find out about it? It's an all-day event, and I promise this is going to rock your world. It's all about finding your own special magic, purpose, and of course, vibrancy. You're going to check it out at savingdinner.com/bloom. I am so delighted about this. I cannot wait for it. So we've got a lot of people coming, and it's just going to be, I don't want you to miss out because I don't want to leave you behind. Can I just say that? That's everything that we've got going on. Of course, if you're part of the Hot Melt 30, you can be a part of the Hot Melt 30, even though you haven't started at the beginning of April. You can start right now. savingdinner.com/30, THIRTY. That's the webinar replay. And also, I believe the link to the getting the Hot Melt 30 guide. Everything's there. So go check that out. Yeah. You want to get back on track, Emily? Jump on the Hot Melt 30. This is the game changer, and I want you there. Christina, I'm so glad Corliss is here. Yes. It's really going to be fun. What a meeting that we have, because it is definitely a connection time, heart, mind, body, soul, the whole thing. I love it. It's really fun to have everybody together. So that's what I have for you today. I'm going to go ahead and try again with Instagram. We are going live on Instagram if you have that as well. Let's go. There it is. Checking for connection. And we are live. Hello, Instagram. It's great to be here. And it's good to be here with YouTube and Facebook as well. We are looking and unpacking all this week pain. And we started off with a really great quote, which was from Jim Rohn. This is one of those moments in your personal development walk, shall we say, that just woke me up from a stupor that I did not realize I was in. And that was this one. We must all suffer from one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. I never considered that there's two, I never considered that there was two types of pain, but there is. And that we have to choose between regret or discipline. So I'm just going to hang that one right there, and we're going to get back into into what we're talking about. But yesterday we really unpacked that one a lot. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me on Instagram. It's great to be here. But Mel Robbins had a really good quote too that I thought was great. And she said, pain doesn't hurt as much when you stop avoiding it. Have you noticed that? We will do anything to avoid pain. We have this aversion to pain, and that's not our fault. That's our brain. Our brain's always going to do that. Our brain's always going to say, get out of here, stay clear, procrastinate, do anything but be in the place of pain. Pain's not fun. It really isn't fun until you come to terms with it, though. And we spend a lot of time and energy avoiding pain. And just to make sure we're on the same page, I want to make sure, though, that you're coming to the place of understanding the pain of regret and the pain of regret, of the pain of discipline and the pain of regret is what I'm talking about with that. But, if you really get into it, there is purpose in the pain, especially when you choose the pain of discipline. It's the truth. Another quote, Glennon Doyle, she said, pain is a traveling professor. I've never heard this one before. And it knocks on everyone's door. The smartest people I know say, come on in and don't leave until you teach me everything that I need to know. How often do we do that? How often are we willing to sit and embrace the pain and say, yeah, I'm willing to go through it? I'm not talking about, embracing physical pain, obviously. I'm just talking about the pain that we have, the torture that goes between our ears, of understanding what the path and the purpose of pain is all about. And I believe there's three things there. One, it's to lead us to a path and a place that's bigger than we are, so that we can understand that there's a whole lot more for us in this life. And two is to create opportunities so that we can grow, so that we can become all that we're meant to be, and to show us at last a higher way, because there are ways that are better than us, right? Better than what we're doing, and better than the path that maybe we've chosen. So this concept also applies to us if we're going through something really, really painful. And we're desperately searching for the meaning out of the whole thing. Because sometimes, it leaves us in a place of just being, I don't know, a little distraught and just grasping for something to make it a little bit right. So how do we deal with deep pain? I think we have to look at that, because honestly, I don't know a single person on the planet who hasn't at one time had to deal with deep, deep pain. All right, let's look at it. Number one is we have to sit with the totality of our feelings. I was reading the other day an article that was talking about how we have like 3 words to explain how we're feeling. We're feeling sad, we're feeling happy, or we're feeling tired, because we don't really sit with our feelings. We don't go through, what does this all mean? How does this affecting me? And how do I deal with it? So part of the way of dealing with the totality of our whole feelings is to, of course, go with the first thing that we're feeling. And if there's sadness there, let's talk about it. And talk about it with a friend. Talk about it with a counselor. Talk about it with somebody who's going to help you, a professional, or even your spouse. But the other thing that you can do, and one of my favorite things, is a journal. I find that my head gets so packed sometimes with stuff that I need to be able to allow it to go somewhere. You can't process it if everything's so packed in like sardines. So that's how we sort of unfold this whole painful concept, right? We want to look at that one word. Of course, if sadness is the first thing that bubbles up, what else beside the sadness? Sometimes there's anger attached to the sadness, and unworthiness, abandonment even. Missing out on what was is a big one. And sometimes when we express it and we start to say, yeah, it's about this anger, and yes, it's about these different things, and this is going to help you heal, because you're pinpointing certain emotions that are attached to what all this pain is about. And this is, of course, when we're going deep into the emotion stuff. And number 2 is to get out the experience file. This is one of the things that I have. This is a thing that I came across for my own personal development probably about 5 years ago. And it completely changed the whole trajectory of my life. And I'm going to explain it to you. And the experience file is, what I've noticed was I had a tendency to live the same thing over and over again. In other words, I would go through the whole process, remember the whole thing, and just relive this whole experience. And it didn't do me any good. It just kept me buried in the past, and it kept me from not moving forward. But I knew that we have a tendency to repeat the same things that we don't learn from. So I called it the experience file, and instead took a good look at the situation, looked at this painful experience of mine, and pulled out the lesson from it. That's the keeper. That goes into the experience file. That's the thing that we keep instead of dumping the whole memory. When we dump the whole memory, we're denying, and denial doesn't help at all. But when we have the experience, there's a lesson that's learned, and we can move on when we get the lesson out of it. So here's, like, for example, here's some examples of things. Number 1, like chronic illness. If you have a chronic illness and you're going through and reliving this whole thing of how you found out, and the doctor's telling you, I remember when I was told that I had Hashimoto's, and I remember all the stuff that came up with it. But you know what it did for me? You know what the lesson out of that was? I learned to put my priorities straight. I no longer put myself on the back burner. I stopped saying no to self-care. I became an absolute curator of my own personal health. That's how I got into remission from Hashimoto's. That's how I became the woman that I am today, simply by getting my priorities straight. And a chronic illness did that for me. There was a lesson there. Same with a heartbreak. Anyone's ever been through a heartbreak? I know a lot of women who've been through heartbreak and just crushing. After a divorce, after 30 years of marriage, I had a girlfriend that went through this. A lot of people who have gone through all these different things. And do you know what happens? Is that when you start looking at it from the experience file place, you start to find a lesson there. It's time to respect myself. That's what I came away with. I wasn't respecting myself. I was rolling over and becoming everything for that other person instead of respecting myself as a person and being the best that I could possibly be. There's a lesson there. And that's the lesson that we can extrapolate out of all of that pain. How about in being in mourning? Well, I haven't been in mourning except for my mother, but I learned a great deal from my friend Christina Rasmussen, who is an absolute, one of the most beautiful souls I've ever met in my life. And if you know Christina, you know what I'm talking about. Her book, Second Verse, is something that I recommend to all women who are going through any kind of mourning, because it teaches us to respect our mourning and understand that we don't have to live in it. We just, when it comes up, we go with it. And she calls it the waiting room. And there's more to it than that. Of course, you have to read her book. But when we're going through there, we just need to know that the lesson from that mourning is that the love is still there. It hasn't left because the person has left. The love is still, you still hold that person's love in your heart. That's how I look at it. And that to me was one of the biggest comforts I ever experienced. So these are lessons from the experience file that we can extrapolate from the experiences that we go through. We don't have to live there. We don't have to live in the place of reliving and going through that painful experience over and over again. The lesson is what we're about. And that's what that pain is about. And the third thing is we got to do something with all of that. So we know about the lesson. So what is the lesson doing? The lesson's teaching us to go to our priorities. It's time to make time to care for yourself. It's time to look at what self-care could be. It's time to become educated and understand if you have a chronic illness, you need to be all about that and educate yourself on it and not just ask your doctor for what to do. MD does not stand for medical deity, by the way. It's better to be a proactive patient and have a doctor get ticked off at you for, whatever, and then to just say, then to just roll over and just do whatever. This is a separate soapbox, of course. You've heard me talk about that. And then a breakup is saying to you that you're worthy of more. Even if you are the one that didn't instigate the breakup, you are worthy of more. It's time to start stepping into respecting yourself again. Your words, your action, your focus needs to be on yourself. This is how we take care of ourselves. This is how we take maybe a sabbatical from the dating world and start becoming the woman we've always wanted to be, the woman of our dreams. That's the call to each one of our hearts if we're listening. So I'm going to close with, this is a quick show today, but I wanted to close with this one quote from Tony Robbins, which I think just encapsulates this whole thing really well. Change happens when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. Change is always painful. When you are pregnant, you go through a lot of change with your body. And when you give birth, nobody I know has had a painless birth. I'm sure there are some out there that do. That's change. When you watch a chicken hatching out of an egg, there's a lot of pain there for that chicken. It's a lot to go through to get out of that shell. And same with a butterfly coming out of a cocoon. And same as you watch somebody that you love pass. There is a transition that has pain involved. But to become the best version of yourself is to realize that there's going to be pain involved and allow for it. Allow for it because it's going to teach you the lesson that you need at the right time if you're patient with it. I hope that was helpful for you. Pain is, nobody likes pain. We try to avoid it. we try to stay away from it. But I will tell you this one thing that I know for sure, that when I've looked for the lesson in the pain, that's when I've come out of it on the other side better than I was before, more mature than I was before, and more blessed than I was before. There is blessings in the pain. That's all I got for you today. Peace be with you. I'll see you again tomorrow for Wise Women's Wednesday. Pinkies up.
Thanks for watching. Check back for new episodes. If you missed the live show, you can always watch the replay. You can find Saving Dinner on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Until next time, pinkies up.